All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Lisa, and I'm also known as Job Coach Germany. I want to wish you a warm welcome here to my 31st career coaching drop-in session. So just a little bit of background for everybody that is new here and has not joined this career coaching drop-in session yet. Well, what I do is basically I support international and national professionals finding and landing their dream job here in Germany. So I have worked in HR for several years, and I'm now sharing all of that knowledge that I have with all of my clients. In order for them to understand the mindset of the HR people and the hiring managers and why they are asking questions in a certain way. And that's also something that I focus on during my career coaching drop-in session. And Mojo is here. Hi, Mojo. Can I wave somehow? Okay, so I tried waving. It's great of you to see you. It's great to see you here. Thank you very much for your support. So this career coaching drop-in session is actually designed in a way for all of you guys who are listening to me, who have been following me, to jump in and ask questions. So I normally focus on a specific topic, and I will give you some insights into the German labor market, but I will also give you some insights in what it actually means to prepare your application documents according to the German labor market, and what it actually means to prepare yourself for a job interview with a German employer, for example. So, and you can basically follow me here on Instagram or on Facebook or also on LinkedIn. And if you want to make sure not to miss out on any sort of information that I put out there, sign up for my newsletter, and you can click the link in my bio to sign up for it, and you will receive the new newsletter every week on a Friday. So that's all about the general information. Let's dive right into the topic of this week. So this week, I would like to go more into detail about a specific question that might be asked during a job interview. So, and this question is all about, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So it's basically the question that is designed to find out what your career aspirations are. And here we need to be really, really careful when it comes to this question. So it's not just a general idea of finding out what your motivation is for that particular job. There are actually 3 ideas that the hiring managers have when asking these questions. So first of all, they want to know what your goals are. And here you can go more into detail about obviously your career goals, but also your personal goals maybe. And if these personal goals are even aligned with your career goals, that's even better. And then the second idea, or the second reason why HR staff are asking this question during a job interview is because they want to find out whether you are a great fit for that particular company or not. Okay, so, and the third one is because they want to find out whether you are interested in staying with that company for a longer time. Okay, so for a longer period than just a year, than just 2 years or 3 years, but rather 5 years and even longer. So this long-term aspiration of yours, that is something that the HR staff are looking for when they are asking you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So, and when you want to answer this question, it is really important that you describe how you see your career development with that particular company, within that particular job. Okay, and Khaled is here. Hi, thank you very much for joining me today. We are talking about the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Okay, so this is a particular question that can be asked during a job interview. And here it is really important that you don't answer this question spontaneously. So this question can be described or asked in different ways. So they don't just ask you, for example, like, where do you see yourself within 5 years? But it can be covered up with different questions, such as, what are your long-term career goals? Or how do you define success? Or where are your long-term goals? So just the general goals, not the career goals. Or another question could be, how does a perfect job look like to you? How do you describe a perfect job? Where would you like to be in 3 years? Where would you like to be in 10 years from now? Okay, so all of these questions basically aim to ask the same thing. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your career goals? Do you fit to the company? And would you be willing to commit to that particular company that you're applying with right now, long term, yeah, in the long run? And this is what they're asking. So don't be spontaneous with that. You can actually prepare that particular question in advance, and this is really, really helpful. And I always recommend for you all to do that in advance, because this is actually a question that everybody should ask themselves. Yeah, where do you see yourself in the future? And what kind of values are important to you? And does that particular company that you are applying with actually match these values or not? So it is really important to describe how you get to that particular goal within 5 years that you have set for yourself, okay? And here I will go a little bit more into detail that it doesn't really have to be in the same position all the time. You can change the position as long as you are willing to stay within that company, and probably just thinking about your background and thinking about your work experience that you've had, that you might want to stay with it within this particular department that you are applying for, okay? It doesn't really matter which of these questions is being asked that I just mentioned. It's basically more about your career perspective, your motivation, and your loyalty with regards to that company that you're applying with. And this is the big question. It's a really hot topic that you need to focus on when preparing for a job interview, because this question can be a killer question. So it can be a question that really, if you answer it in a way that is not to the liking of the HR manager or the hiring manager, then you're out. Yeah, so that could basically mean that you have kicked yourself out of that run for that particular position that you're applying for. And so just think about the perspective of the hiring managers. Think about the perspective of the HR staff and what they would like to hear. And this is a fact that I cannot stress enough, because actually that is something that I always explain to my clients when it comes to writing their applications. You always think you want to put out there all of the information about yourself. So you want to put out there why, what your skills are, what your work experience is, the projects that you've worked with, and the computer literacy that you're capable of performing, for example. However, this is not so much of the interest for that particular person that is interviewing you. They really want to find out whether you are loyal, what your perspectives are, and why you're interested in this particular company. So Hira is here, and Petra is here as well. Hi! Thank you very much for joining me. So this question is really key to your job interview, okay? So if you nail this, then you are one step further towards your dream goal of really being that person that fills this position that you are aspiring to have. However, if you just answer this spontaneously and get carried away and just answer questions, or answer this question in a way that the hiring manager feels like, okay, so this person sees us as a step towards the dream career, then you're out. Yeah, so that it's really, really likely that you're out unless this company is really desperate and thinks, okay, yeah, well, 2 years is fine. However, you always have to keep in mind the people that are interviewing you, they cost a lot of money, and their time and energy that they put into that interview is money to that company, basically. And they are interviewing you, and then all of the money that they put into your onboarding, for example, and all of the time and effort that they put into showing you how this position that you're applying for actually works and how you can fulfill all of your tasks and being on your side and answering your questions. This all means money to the company, and they don't want to spend that every year. So, and that's why they are looking to hire people that are loyal to the company, and they are looking for people that really want to stay with that company for a longer period of time. So nowadays, you don't have to you don't have to commit to a company for 40 years. Yeah, this is not the time so this time is over, that you are staying with a particular company for over 50 years. That is back in the day. Nowadays, you need to be more flexible, and employers know that you're changing your positions every now and then. However, seeing that you really see a future within that company, and even if that means for the next 5 to 10 years, that is already really, really valuable to this employer, to the people that are interviewing you, because that actually means, okay, so we can save some costs because this person is really interested in committing to work with us for the next 5 to 10 years. Okay. So what is more important? There are 4 elements that you need to think about when answering this question. So these 4 elements are your development, your perspective, the match with the company, or the alignment as well, and your joy. Yeah, that's number 4. So let's go a little bit more into detail. So what is your long-term master plan, as I would call it? Okay, so you want to show with your answer how you define your personal development, but also your development within that career. So I'm talking about technical skills. Yeah, so in your technical expertise that you have, how do you want to develop, and how is that actually aligned with that particular position and that particular company? So maybe you have found out beforehand that this company is really interested in offering their new employees a really great onboarding scheme. So a really great onboarding scheme is really, really valuable. And this is something that you need to focus on when you go into that job interview, okay? So you want to find out, how does the onboarding process actually look like? Does that company support you in your first steps, or do they just simply leave you alone? And then you need to find out for yourself how you feel more comfortable. Maybe you are a person that just wants to dive right in and just do everything on your own, or you are a person that really values the support in the beginning, yeah, during your probationary period especially. Then the second aspect was perspective. Yeah, so what are your goals, maybe for your probationary period, the career goals, the tasks that you want to fulfill. And here, keep in mind the job ad. You've seen from the job ad the different tasks that they are asking for, yeah? And then you go through each of these tasks that you are supposed to do once you have landed that job, and think about, okay, which of these tasks can I do in the very beginning? Which of these tasks can I maybe do after a couple of months? And which of these tasks might be able to be fulfilled and done and executed by me after the probationary period, for example. So set yourself some goals and always go into communication with your manager. Yeah, so with the person that is right above you, so that you can talk to that person. Okay, is the scale or the scope that you have for your career goals and for the tasks that you're supposed to do within that company, is that realistic? Because obviously this person that is hiring you and the hiring manager, or the person that is going to be your manager, this person has been in that company for a little bit longer, and they know how realistic it is to actually achieve these goals and really execute these tasks within a certain time frame. Okay, so here, think about these tasks, think about a time scale that you would like to address these different tasks, and obviously show your motivation. Show your motivation for that particular company, for these different tasks that you are supposed to be doing, and also show your motivation for that particular department, for example, and for the technical expertise that you have, that you bring to the table, that will help the company. Okay, and then the third part, the third element of this answering this question, is your match with the company. And for that, it's really important that you do your research on point. And with research, I mean, find out about the history of that company, find out about the values of that company, find out about the goals of this company. Do they have a specific strategy that they are following right now? And what are these different goals of that strategy? And then show them how you are aligned with these goals, how you are aligned with the values and the mission and the vision of that company, and what you have learned from researching their history. Maybe you find something that you feel really interested in when you look at the history. Maybe it's a family-oriented business, or maybe it is a business that you just feel personally really involved with, because it just supports projects that you have been interested in your private life as well. That is really, really important when it comes to the element of your match with that company. And then obviously, last but not least, your joy. Yeah, that's element number 4 when answering this question. So your joy, show a little bit of enthusiasm. Yeah, don't go over the top. However, this is the point when you can show how enthusiastic you are and how willing you are to really, yeah, jump on board with that company and with that particular job. And here it is important when answering the question, where do you see yourself within 5 years or in 10 years from now? You can, first of all, show how you want to fulfill all of these tasks that you've read from the job ad. And then you can also go on, because obviously five years is actually a really long time. And if you are a young professional, if you're a career starter, for example, you want to still climb the corporate ladder quite quickly, then normally you are imagining, or you can expect to climb the corporate ladder every 2 years, to change your position every 2 years. However, always stick with that company, okay? So that is okay to show how you're going to fulfill these tasks within 2 years, for example, and then what you are going to do in order to progress your career within that particular company. So maybe you would then want to be a team lead within this department, and within the team that you've been working in. Okay, so this would be really realistic, and this would already show the hiring managers and the HR staff, oh, so this person has actually already thought about what's the next step within that company. Okay, so I can tell you, maybe I will share some of my background, because when I was still working in corporate, I obviously thought that this was my dream career at that point in my life. I thought, this is it, this is the company, this is the group that I want to spend the rest of my life with, because all of the things that they have been offering, the onboarding scheme, the mentoring scheme, all of the support for employees in whether they are sick or whether they want to progress in their career, I just thought it was the real deal. So when I went to the job interview with that company and I got the job, What I always said was I was always thinking about the onboarding scheme. So maybe they would send me to different departments to find out how the other departments were working, that my department was really in close collaboration with. That was something that I was interested in. Or maybe they would send me abroad to get some insights how their international affairs would work. That was something that I was always really interested in. And that was it, what I always said when it got to the question of where do you see yourself in 5 years. That was it. After applying for that position and really having fulfilled this career and this position, I really want to be part of your development scheme. I really want to be part of your mentoring scheme. I want to have a mentor on my side that really shows me how I can get to the different positions that I'm aspiring to have. And that's what showed the HR staff, okay, so Lisa has really done her research and really found out what we are about and what we can actually offer all of our employees. So I then got the job, and they did everything possible for me to really enter this mentoring scheme, to really enter this development scheme. And that was really what I wanted. Okay, so here it is really important for you not to lie. Don't be spontaneous, don't lie, don't just say anything that you think the HR staff wants to hear or what the hiring manager wants to hear, because really skilled professionals that are interviewing you will soon find out that you are lying and that it's not aligned with your career plan that you have. Okay, and also something else that I can share with you guys is don't be too specific. Just make it more general, because then you are really flexible in case they have another question to top up this, where do you see yourself in 5 years, in case they have found out, okay, well, this sounds a little bit strange. Is that really aligned with our own goals and values and our mission? Then they will ask another question. And if you are a little bit more general with your answer, then you can be more flexible and guide or go more towards the direction of their goals. Okay, so when answering these questions, you also need to keep in mind what kind of career you really want to have. Would you like to be a manager at some point? Would you like to have a career where you have a team that you are leading? Or are you interested in a more technical career? So are you really interested in, no, I don't want to be responsible for too much personnel. However, I want to be really responsible for this part where I'm the expert. I want to be responsible for my expertise. That is a particular career direction as well, where you can go to. Or maybe you focus on the cultural fit. So the company and the company's culture, and what kind of projects is this company supporting? And then maybe you go towards this direction of answering where do you see yourself in 5 years? Maybe you want to be the ambassador of one of these projects that the company is supporting. And also, something that is really, really important when answering this question is your identification with yourself and with your values, obviously. Yeah, and the development that you see for yourself. So this is something that you really need to nail and ask yourself in the beginning, or even before you start your job hunting journey. You need to find out, okay, what are your aspirations? Yeah, so what kind of work cultivates your energy, and what kind of tasks are there when you really lose the track of time? On what kinds of people do you love working with, or what gets you really excited about the company? What gets you really excited about that job? Would you like to be a supervisor at some point or not? Would you like to work in a team or rather alone? And all of these different things, these are questions about your values and your your definition of a great career? These are questions that you need to ask yourself before starting the job hunting journey. It's actually a part of the first step towards your ideal career, okay? So, and these questions then will help you to answer this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So now you need to be really, really careful when it comes to a career change. So many of my clients, because I'm working with international professionals who have had already a couple of years of work experience, some of you have already had many years of work experience, and now find out, I'm stuck. I'm stuck with the career that I'm in, and I don't know where to go from here. My company seems to be great or not so great. However, I cannot progress and I don't know where to go. And then it's best to take some time for yourself to really find out what it is that you are expecting from your life, because obviously you're spending 40 hours a week on average within that particular company. And if you don't feel fulfilled, there's nothing that the company can do unless you communicate what you want from your life, from your career. And this is when we need to find out, okay, so all of these values, the question that I've just mentioned before, you need to answer them for yourself and find out what is really important to you and what sparks joy in you. So, and then if you then have found out what you really want, then you have obviously nailed answering these questions, what your values are, what your mission in your life is, what your vision for your life is. And then if you then go into an interview when there is a position or a career or a job that you are applying for that is completely different from what you've done before, then you can nail the answer, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because obviously you have thought about that, why you don't want to do that particular job anymore that you've done before. However, you're applying with that particular job now, okay? So when you're doing a career change, it's really, really difficult, and it's again a killer for that particular position if you're really vague and don't really know what to answer, okay? But everybody that is working with me needs to first find out, okay, what is it? Where do I really want to be in the future? What does my vision of my dream job look like? And if you have nailed this for yourself, then you know how to answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years or in 10 years from now? Okay? So another and the final tip that I wanted to share with you guys is, don't show any humor in this particular answering the question. And this might be German specific. However, this is something that the HR people and the hiring managers take really seriously. So telling them, I want to be the CEO of this company in 5 years, it depends on the position that you're applying for. However, don't make fun of this question, because it's obviously, it doesn't answer the question and it doesn't really give a great impression of how seriously you're taking this opportunity to talk to the hiring managers during this job interview, okay? So find out what your values are, find out what your mission is and how you envision your life in the future. And then you can go out there during your job interview and nail that question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? So maybe you can let me know in the comments where you actually see yourself in 5 years. That would be really, really interesting to me. And if you have the feeling now that you need support with regards to preparing for the next job interview that is out there for you to really land your dream career here in Germany, feel free to book a discovery call with me through the link in my bio. So thank you very much for attending this session today, and I wish you a wonderful week. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.